Did you do 3 twice?
Yeah, I think so. Welcome, everybody, to the Nightmare Hour podcast, a podcast where we take a deep dive into the supernatural, paranormal, and most importantly, horror films. I am Adam, and I'm joined, as always, by my full moon, sunrise, beautiful baby, bestie, Eric Havens. Hi, Eric.
Did you just say a bunch of words and
Yeah,
then my name?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Well, apparently I just had a stroke. I don't know. Maybe I'm turning into some other kind of creature. A creature of the night.
You're really forcing the segue here. Like we haven't
I just wanted
really
to
talked about our days yet. And you're like, you're right into it.
Well, I just wanted to chat about it. I don't know. It's when was the last full moon? It was very recently, like within the last day or two.
I get really confused because it seems like it's full all the time. Maybe I just look up at the right times. Because every time I look up, I'm like, it's full moon.
It was recently a full moon. I will tell you when the last full moon was. As I consult my calendar here, the last time there was a full moon was only a week ago.
But it's like astronomically, it's pretty full for like a week or two at a time, right? Like It's not fully full, but it look like if you just look at it and you're some dummy like me, you're like full moon, even though it's missing like a tenth of it or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what happens to me. I just look up because it's bright. And I'm like,
and you yell full moon every time.
Yeah.
Full moon.
Exactly.
Full moon.
Full moon. Full moon. But yeah. Why are we talking about full moons?
I don't know, actually. Why are we talking about full moons, Eric?
I think it's another attempt for your segues.
Okay. I can segue here. Well, this week's episode is all about werewolves and transformations, or wolf persons, or man wolf, she wolf,
or lycanthropes, as you made fun of me for saying.
Yeah, lycanthropes, lycanthropy, all sorts of things that involve shape shifting into some form of wolf or dog like creature. So that's it. I don't really know. I could tell you that lycanthropy comes from like year 27.
Of AD or BC? Are we doing the Common Era or before the Common Era?
I don't know. It comes from the Roman times, so I'm gonna guess
that's probably common.
Yeah, it feels common. Yeah, but I mean, it was prominent in European folklore. Per the little bit of research I did, which is very little, because we'll do a proper werewolf episode. But today is more about
people. Yeah.
Well, today is more specifically about the 20th anniversary of a movie called Ginger Snaps, right?
It was the 20th anniversary? I had no idea.
Yeah, and then the 35th anniversary of another movie called Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Eric didn't know that these were on anniversaries.
I had no idea, and it all came about to me because Adam and I text back and forth about what we want to talk about, and we kept picking like downer movies. We didn't really want to talk about downer movies today. We want to talk about like fun movies. Yeah. And Ginger Snaps popped in my head, and then this weekend was my fiance's birthday, so we had a few socially distanced like people out on our deck and libations and all that stuff, like the closest you can get to a party these days. And I had a few of those beers in me, and I had this realization. We're talking about Teen Wolf, and firstly, it is disturbing how much I remember about this movie. Like I remember Boof and like Styles, his friend. Like I remembered all the character names. Like I don't know why this is still in here. But I realized as I was talking, like as we talk about like allegories and messages, Teen Wolf, it's not just the fun-loving basketball dunking, like Michael J. Fox that we remember. This movie is much like Ginger Snaps, which you and I have talked about recently. Like it's almost the same film, like what it represents and like the change through high school and trying to like going through puberty and finding out who you are and who your friends really are and where you believe. But they approach it from like these opposite, like from the feminine side, like the traditionally feminine side, and then the masculine side. And I thought that would be interesting if we talk about these two fun movies and then talk about this and make it like academic and boring like I like to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was sold when you were like ginger snaps, and I was like, okay, we can talk about that. And then you said Teen Wolf as well, and I was like, well, actually, they're remarkably the same movie, I think.
Yeah, like when you really think about it, like they have the same progressions without like like Teen Wolf doesn't have the violent attack like the female like the Ginger Snaps does.
Right.
Like it's genetic, I guess, in Teen Wolf, but they both have the changes, as we like to call them, and they struggle with how they adapt to those. And then we end at like a high school party dance, and yeah, Ginger Snaps. That's what I think is so interesting. Not to jump too close into it, but I just think it's so interesting that, and I think it's the filmmakers for sure, and one's the Michael J. Fox picture that they wanted to sell a lot of like tickets and stuff for. But like I think like the masculine approach to that, like he becomes this thing, and it's all positive. He becomes like super popular, super athletic. You can dunk the basketball, surfing on the vans, like everything. Like when he's the wolf, everything's great in his life. Like when he embraces what he's changed into. And I think that has to do like towards like masculinity in our country.
Well,
you look like
the movie starts out with he's Michael J. Fox. So I will preface this by saying he is in no way, shape, or form a nerd or like an unattractive kid or anything like that. But he's supposed to be this kid from a small town in Nebraska. His high school's we don't really get a lot because this is the 80s. They're just like, here's the 5 things you need to know about him. He's just kind of like a kid at school who's like kind of falls into the background, I guess. His basketball team sucks. The team's name are the Beavers. He's got a crush on a girl and who's like dating like his enemy, and who plays for the good basketball team at a different school.
But not even his enemy. It's like the alpha, like the whole wolf pack thing. He's the alpha, like, and he's not. He's like this, like as the conservatives like to say, he's a total beta. Like Michael J. Fox is a beta in this film until the wolf thing comes along.
Yeah, and then his best friend's name is Boof.
I love Boof. She's
Boof
the best.
And
Styles, right? Styles has the van, the wolf machine.
Styles is like, is Styles his cousin?
I don't remember that part of but they're definitely buddies, and Styles has the van. I remember that. Like, I don't remember how if they're just buddies or if they're.
I don't remember that either, but he's in the sequel, right?
Does he show up with Jason Bateman?
Yeah, I think so. And then basically like he doesn't get like it comes from a family of werewolves because his father is also a wolf. Yeah. And then, so I think you're right. Like he's literally starting to change in the sense that most men do, like growing hair in different places. Mm-hmm. Well, we all do that, but
getting muscles.
He's getting muscles. Yeah. He's getting, he's seen like his friend become like he's sexually attracted to her. And then like they make out and like, didn't he like, claws up her back pretty good, right?
Yeah. And the closet, like he rips up her blouse.
Yeah,
like the whatever the 80s told us was a thing like that. What is that? 5 minutes of passion or whatever that's called when you go in the closet.
7 minutes in heaven.
Yeah, there you go. I got that way wrong.
And I don't remember too much about this. Truth be told, we didn't rewatch Teen Wolf just now, but we're recalling.
But apparently, I remember everything about this film.
Yeah, we're recalling quite a bit from this movie. Well, because it is pretty simple, but he eventually finds out from his father after like more fully transforming into a werewolf. His dad says, man, I thought I was going to skip a generation.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Dang it. You're now a werewolf.
But he tells him by turning into a werewolf himself too.
Yes.
He's like, sorry, son. And he's like the cutest, grayest werewolf.
The nicest. His dad is played by James Hampton, who was kind of the father in a million different things, I think mostly in TV shows. Anyways, he's incredible and like the sweetest man in this movie. I think I know him. He was also,
He's in a lot of things from the 80s. I don't know exactly. Like he's
Well, I
that
was just
face that you're like that guy.
he kind of looks like John Hughes.
Yeah. And he
Like
kind of
he
acts like what John Hughes probably acted like.
Yeah, he's very silly. And then he's like, oh shit, okay, I gotta be this. And then Styles, who is his best friend, decides to like convince him to rejoin the basketball team and take advantage of his newfound powers.
Mm-hmm. And he can dunk. That's his new power. And
Yeah.
his eyes turn yellow when he growls. Like if someone tries to steal the ball, look out. Don't do that. You'll get a growl and a yellow eye.
Yeah. So yeah, what I'm trying to remember what happens at the end with. I know he gets like the girl who is like super attracted to.
Yeah.
She starts because he's like this all-star athlete. She starts liking him, but
He
then
goes to the dance with her, but then he
yeah,
realizes that who his true friends are, and he stops pretending to be the wolf, or stops being the wolf, and is just himself, and kind of like walks away and takes the high road. Like he does a very like
well, his whole team ends up like hating him because like they're taking
he
away.
won't turn.
Like it's
Yeah,
all about him, right? He's never like passing the
yeah,
ball.
yeah.
And then doesn't go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like he does just become that like prototypical alpha person who just is selfish and broed out and kind of a dick.
Well, and then he overcomes himself, and he doesn't use the
Yeah.
wolf in the championship when he's facing his big bad buddy Mick from the Dragons basketball team. He ends up working together with the team and not being all about me, and they overcome. I think he hits a buzzer beater, right? It's like so cheesy at the end.
Yeah.
And then he brushes past Pamela to kiss the girl, who he's known forever.
Boof.
Boof. And that's pretty much Teen Wolf in a nutshell from what I recall. But it is interesting. Like I had never really thought about. It's so obviously like about like teen transformation and becoming an adult and those things that I've never even associated it with that being that.
Me either, until I was drunk the other night and I just started talking, and everyone just looked at me.
Well, you just started yelling
wide-eyed.
about Teen Wolf.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, everyone, this is what Teen Wolf's about. And they just all looked at me.
Were they like, yeah, you idiot? Of course it's about that.
No, one of the girls got mad at me. She's like, you just ruined one of my like favorite childhood movies. Like now it seems kind of sad. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's kind of like very toxic masculinity. Like he has to, I mean, it has a happy ending, but it is like the worst of like masculinity traditionally that he kind of gives into and like imposes his will on everyone. And
that's true.
And through the whole thing, it's like the patriarchy stuff that he's rewarded for it. Like he gets the girl that he likes. He gets on the star of the basketball team. He's super popular. It's like this thing where everything's great for him because he's this thing that's not good.
Yeah, I think the toxic masculinity is pretty interesting and like shocking that none of us considered that about this movie. Yeah.
And then Ginger Snaps comes from the total other, like that's what I started thinking about after this when we were talking about this, because they are attacked like at the beginning. Like it is a violent act that causes this change. And she's not rewarded for any of, like, she gets withdrawn. She like the first part of this movie when she's changing is very, I mean, I can't speak to it because obviously look at me and listen to me, I've never had the experience, but like it seems from what I've heard from my friends and what people portray, like it's very similar to like the menstrual cycle. Like it's feeling like crap. It's like putting on the hoodies and like she's very like withdrawn and hiding. And at that age, at the teen age, like a little bit of shame, like it's a little bit of embarrassment that your body's changing like this and you're trying to hide it. And that's what the first part of this movie kind of is. And I always thought those two in parallel to each other is really like kind of shows what it's like for like traditional men and traditional women, like when they grow up through high school and stuff, like puberty and stuff, like how different of an experience that is. But somehow like Werewolf captured it in both these movies. So that's what I wanted to talk about.
Well, I mean, hers is the Ginger Snaps is a little bit different in the sense that it's two like outcast sisters. So like while he's not an outcast, he's just like everyday boy. Whereas
He's
they're
like,
both.
yeah, but he's kind of like the nerdy. I mean, he's not a nerd, but he's not like by one of the cool kids by any means, right? He's just kind of like one of those nameless, faceless people in the background that no one cares about before this happens to him.
Yeah, but he's not a nerd really.
I mean, how do you make Michael J. Fox? He's
I
charming.
guess that's what I mean. Like, because it's Michael J. Fox,
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't work. It doesn't work as a nerd. But in Ginger Snaps,
He is more of a feminine fellow than a lot of his like leading stars of the day. Like he's not like.
Well, we don't really know too much else about him other than he's just supposed to be an everyday man, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like actor wise, he's slighter and like more like quote unquote feminine than a lot of like the heartthrobs at that time, right? Like there's a lot of like Val Kilmers and such around that time, right? Or am I off by a few years?
80. Well, hang on. Let me look at the. Oh, I closed it. Oops.
I mean, there was like the teen beat period where there's like the younger, like not so muscular guys that were dreamy, but I don't know when that ideal was.
I think
so that'd be interesting.
That was like conflicting at this time because you were seeing the rise of like Stallone and Schwarzenegger at this time in like the box office, but you were also seeing the John Hughes movies. So like, and like Tom Cruise emerging. So you still have like some kind of everyday man, but you also had Philip Seymour Hall like becoming a popular character, and Emilio Estevez. And
yeah, Emilio Estevez was the sexy one though. And he's not
sure.
Yeah,
but he's kind of Michael J. Fox-esque, I think.
I think he's got a little more masculinity to him than that, like traditionally. But anyway,
all right. Well, but then you look at Ginger Snaps, which is about two sisters that are just like they're like. I think they're supposed to be more goth than they are, but like because they love like they talk about like death and like witchcraft and stuff and whatnot, but really like they're like goth light in terms of like how they're actually portrayed on screen, and I think that fits them because they're one of them. They're not twins, so they're both in high school. So I'm guessing they're like 16 and 17 or 16 and 18 or something.
Well, you'd have to tell me the name, but the not Ginger is the younger one, I believe.
Brigitte.
Yeah. That's exactly how they say it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Brigitte. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting because
it's just Bridget and Ginger, just so we're clear.
Yeah, but the main thing is I think it's really interesting that becomes this monster, quote unquote, and is lauded for it and is super popular while she's changing as well. She has to hide it, and it's traumatizing, and she becomes a monster and like a beast at the end, like a murderous beast. It is also different filmmakers making a different kind of movie too, but I do think that little parallel is interesting.
Well, and what happens to her and how they portray just the werewolf phenomenon is a little bit differently. Like I think she like cut herself or something, and her it heals really quick.
I think so, and I think she gets like it has real scenes of like what I've heard from my female friends of like just when your body's changing and how traumatic that is because you don't understand it and you don't want it, and like when she gets her tail that she's cutting off and like trying to shave all the hair off and all that. I mean, it's pretty comparable from what I've heard to that experience for what it is for like females. Well, I think I don't know, what was puberty like for you, Adam? To me, it was pretty horrifying, but it was like mildly mildly exciting. Like it wasn't like you were.
Are you talking about boners?
I mean, we can start with boners, but all of it, like getting like when your voice drops and you get a little more like mass to you and the hair starts coming in weird places.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I don't know. I think the weirdest thing was like, I think my voice was like, I never really had cracky voice. Did you have cracky voice?
Very shortly. Like it was like a month.
Mine might have been that too. It was very like light. So like
Yeah.
that was one of the things that was like in the pop culture world of like, here's
Mhm.
what puberty is. You're gonna get awkward sex things. You're gonna have hair growing out and have a cracky voice. And I never really had the cracky voice. My biggest like worry was like the uncontrollable boners in school. That I
Yeah.
was like, I got a boner like 10 minutes before class is over. I'm like, go down. And it was like,
I just God bless waistbands. That's all I gotta say.
yeah.
It got me through many moments. But and yeah, I remember being ridiculously excited when I got like armpit hair. Like I was just like, oh my God, I have an armpit hair. I'm like freaking out and showing my mom.
Did you grow a huge beard in high school?
No, I had a goatee though.
Oh,
I could
see,
do
that's
like a
really
tiny
cool.
little. I could do like it was not a cool. It was like really gross. Like
I'm still waiting to go through puberty so I can grow a beard.
you have a beard. I'm looking at you.
Yeah, it's like what Keanu Reeves does though. It's just like pretty homeless looking and
But
yeah,
I don't ever remember it being negative necessarily. Besides like the nocturnal emissions, maybe. But like besides
yeah,
that,
yeah, it was mostly just uncomfortable erections and weird stuff.
and I think it's different. I wish we would have had thought of this early enough to have like a girl guest on here that could speak to this, because I feel like we're a little out of our element with the comparison on the other side here.
Well, just how they. So let's go back to how they deal with the werewolves. So, I mean, they almost treat in Ginger Snaps. It's more of like they both get super strength, but then it focuses more on the actual part, like individual parts. Like you mentioned, the tail. When the hair grows out of her, it's a little bit more like she's more embarrassed by it, whereas he eventually celebrates it. She can heal a little bit quickly, but we can't forget the big part, which is like her menstruation and how like graphic that is.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like they don't like. That's what kind of led me here, is because Ginger Snaps is not coy about what the metaphor is or what the allegory is here.
Yeah,
like it is about a woman coming into being a woman, and
yeah, because it quickly goes to the younger sister pleading with.
Well, they're both. This just came to me. I haven't seen Ginger Snaps either, like for a while, but they're both like late. Like they should have menstruated by now, right? Because their parents talk about that.
It is weird, yeah. But it's like cool that like they're both like it's not cool. They both like kind of relish in the fact that they haven't, that they're gonna go through this together when it happens.
Yeah, exactly. They want to do everything together, and there is that sense of the younger one being left behind when the older one's going through this experience.
Okay, but then they both have both movies. We mentioned his like makeout session and Attack. But in this, she actually is the one that her instincts, her sexual prowess is like through the roof. And she has sex with somebody against her sister's like suggestions. And this causes her to change even more. And she kills a dog after that.
I don't know. That's where I get hazy. We need like cliff
I'm
notes
pretty
right
sure
now.
she kills
I know
a dog.
she becomes murderous for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I know that. But yeah, like even that, like you're talking about in Teen Wolf, where he gets pretty much congratulated and like, ooh, what a, like a stud. I guess that's an 80s word. What a stud. Because he goes in there and scratches up her blouse and stuff. But like Ginger gets ridiculed and called the slut and stuff. Like she gets like slut shamed for it.
Yeah,
like
that's true. Who do they kill? Like the girl who's slut shaming her, right? She kills her, right?
Oh no. They put me on the spot. I don't know. I haven't seen this. I'm looking it up now.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what happens in this, but so the movies diverge in that this one, Ginger Snaps gets darker and darker and darker, whereas Teen Wolf like becomes like a little bit more of a broad comedy.
Yeah, she kills Trina,
quickly.
by the way.
Okay. And that's the girl at the school that is shaming her and talking behind her back and everything.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to recall what exactly they do. From there, the end of this movie gets a little hazy for me. I know she eventually fully transforms into the werewolf. I know,
and she turns on her sister too. Like
yes.
at the end. Yeah. And I know Ginger, spoiler alert, like the werewolf dies at the end. I know that. Like,
yes. Yeah, but basically the sisters trying to help her. The sisters are trying to overcome this, and then it gets to the point where Ginger's out of control, and
yeah,
I think she kills another kid that's trying to help
she
them.
kills Sam. Yeah,
Yeah.
the dude.
And so at the end of this, like it all leads to Ginger dying, right?
Yeah, here's what happens at the end. She fully transforms into a werewolf. Aware that she transformed, Sam and Bridget, the guy, hide in the pantry in the house. And Sam's trying to make the cure. But when he finds Ginger, she attacks and drags him away. And then Brigitte tries to appease Ginger by drinking the blood in front of him, like, hey, we're still sisters. I'm with you. But Ginger senses Brigitte's revulsion, and she kills Sam completely. And then she stalks through the basement, Brigitte through the basement, and she defends herself by holding up a syringe in one hand and a knife in the other. Ginger lunges at Brigitte and into the knife, fatally wounding herself. So, that's a much darker ending than Teen Wolf, where he makes the 3-pointer.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But what is that trying to say about her experience as a young woman? And
I mean, again, we should have had a woman on here to talk about this. But I think it's just kind of, if I'm just like projecting a little bit, I think it's kind of just like that, like the what's that called? I don't even want to call it like the like we have a sisterhood, I guess, because we have brotherhood, like this like general thing that we all kind of like bond over as like things that we can all understand. And I think that's what Ginger's kind of looking for here, and she's not getting it.
Yeah, I mean, she quickly becomes an adult, and then like it kind of gets out of control. Like, I just don't know if like by her actually becoming this monster. First, are we thinking about? Are we taking that too far? And is the first half of the movie what the message is, but the second half is just the movie?
No, I think the monster part is kind of like a talking about the fear of like a powerful woman. Like this could be seen as her finally becoming like independent and autonomous and powerful, and this is the response she gets. And she's like forced to kind of be more powerful in response, I guess.
Yeah, but it still results in her demise.
Yeah, it does, which is not a sunny like message about what it's like to be a woman in the world.
Yeah, well, maybe we got it right there. Maybe the message is, both these experiences are relatively the same, but when you're the woman and you're a powerful woman, people are going to fear you and want to take you down.
Yeah, and like domesticate you,
succeed,
basically.
Right?
To further the dog metaphor, like domesticate you and like you be a little more docile, and when you don't, you're a monster, and these things happen.
Yeah.
While on the other hand, the dude's like, "Come on, man, turn into the wolf again. We need to win a basketball game."
Yeah, bitch, you little bitch.
It's like the two like traditional gender roles, like the binary gender roles, is like completely different. What's expected out of them?
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's there's not a lot of werewolf movies. Probably because it's pretty hard to make a werewolf look good, but you don't really deal with werewolves in horror that often. I mean, outside of like Universal movies,
there's like Howling, Wolfman, and like American Werewolf in London. Those were what pop in my head.
Are you not going to talk about the '90s classic film Wolf?
Jack Nicholson just being Jack Nicholson.
Remember
when they made him
on a
run,
rampage,
and we all realized how badly Jack Nicholson runs. He's like, he's not a runner. He's not a natural runner. But there is also like Dog Soldiers, I guess, which is pretty good. But that has its own like message, like animalistic tribalism, right? Like these soldiers of wolves. I was trying to think of what how an American Werewolf in London could tie in here, but. And Howling, I think, is... Oh, wait, Silver Bullet. Just thought of another one.
Silver Bullet, yeah. I mean, American Werewolf, obviously. Yeah.
But Silver Bullet is being, like, haunted by the... If we look at it as, like, this change to adulthood, this is like this little kid getting haunted by adulthood, maybe? I don't know. I'm reaching too far. I
Mm,
haven't seen that movie. Because who ends up being in the werewolf in Silver Bullet? Because that's the mystery of that movie, right?
yeah, it's a
Like who it
mystery.
is. It's like
I don't
Lost Boys with the wolf because it's still
I
got
don't
Corey Haim.
really remember that movie, so we should probably move on. I don't really remember that movie at all, but I do remember. I do remember Wolf. So I was gonna say, I do remember that movie,
But
and it is Jack Nicholson
which
just run
Jackal's, yeah,
amok.
and he is like innately kind of like pervy, right? Like he's all
Yeah.
like,
Oh, absolutely. He's absolute perv in that movie. But outside of that, like you don't really see transformation movies. I mean, you could certainly there are a number of ones we're not talking about. Like Company of Wolves is one.
yeah.
Dog Soldiers. Um,
What
but
was
there's
that like? What was that French one that was going to be like this huge
Brotherhood of the
franchise?
Wolf.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
happened to that?
Underworld came out and took it over. I don't know.
There's another one. Yeah.
I like. I do like werewolf movies, though. At least a handful we talked about.
Yeah. I think they're really hard to pull off, honestly. Like it just seems silly because it is about like great horror doesn't typically show everything, and it is very like practical effect based like werewolf movies, and they end up looking pretty silly, and like the movements aren't natural, and it just loses all believe like the suspension of disbelief is just gone. And you're just like, oh, there's some guy. Like, how come they can't do it well? They made Harry and the Hendersons look good. That's just a dude walking around in a hair suit. Why can't they make a werewolf look good?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. But the transformation into human to an animal
Mm-hmm.
is
I mean, like you said, it came from like the year 32 or something, whatever you said.
yeah. I mean, it's just it's interesting, and in the context of a young adult transforming into an adult, it's
It is interesting, though. Not to interrupt. Sorry, I was just reading about werewolves,
how
and
dare you?
it is tied in to witchcraft and witches. So there is like some innate, like going back to ginger snaps. There's some like innate like sexism and powerful women bias from the very beginning of when werewolves were like written down and described.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something there. What do you know? Just learned something live on air.
Yeah, but it's something that I guess I've never really considered, and I feel kind of dumb because we're doing this whole podcast about it. And I'm like, of course, werewolves and like in the context of teens makes so much sense. I guess that it's that's a great metaphor, and I'm actually surprised that's been used to more. Oh wait, did that movie What We Become? Is that what it's called? What We Become?
I haven't seen that yet. Is that what that is?
I think that's what it is, and she's kind of a werewolf.
Okay, and there's the other one. I can't remember.
Nope, that's not what it is. It's
what was that like? It's a what?
I'm looking it up right now because it is really good. It's called there's a couple of them actually. I forgot Wildling. They did that one. Wildling. That was
and I was just thinking of that one from a few years ago. Oh god, this is not.
It's like Irish, right?
This on a pod. It's like from the north. It's like Norway or something. Like remember she works in like a fish factory and she's.
That's the one I'm trying
monster.
to think. That's why I thought it was called What We Become, but
no, the monsters like something. What we are. I don't know. This is not good for podcasts. Yeah, but that one.
It's great though because I remember we both.
That's a great movie. Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. It's like Irish or something. Mm-hmm. It's somewhere in that northern range. But that one did it to quite good effect. I don't know if it was a straight werewolf though, but it flirts with the same type of transformation.
Yeah, it was definitely very ginger snapsy in the way that she was in like that pubescent period and coming into her own quote unquote womanhood and what that was. So yeah, there's that one. Yeah, I feel a little silly that it took like 6 beers for me to like have this realization.
Well, I think maybe we should write the next one.
Okay, let's do it.
Why not?
I just found the Wikipedia part of how you become a werewolf, and it's kind of wild. It's all over the place, man. One of the simplest ways you can become a werewolf is taking off all your clothing and putting on a belt made of wolfskin. That's it. That's all you got to do.
You're not going to get me to do that.
Oh,
You can try
really?
your best, but I'm not going to take off my clothes and put a wolf skin on.
Even if I buy you
I
a
think I'm
skin
kind of
belt?
allergic. I'm a little bit allergic.
Another way is you can rub your body with some magic salve. Are you into that one?
Nah.
Or you could drink rainwater out of the footprint of the animal in question.
That's what I want to do. I'm going to drink the water out of the footprint of the animal in question. Oh yeah, because I guess like you could transform into other things that aren't just werewolves, right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Huh, and the 16th century Swedish writer Aulus Magnus says that werewolves were initiated by draining a cup of specially prepared beer and repeating the foot into the footprint and drinking the beer out of the footprint. That sounds like a party.
Yeah, that sounds like I actually love that. Yeah.
Well, that's my favorite. Let's do that one.
We're gonna both do it, and then we're gonna come back and we'll let you all know if we are able to transform. And what
this
we
week we're both gonna have beers. We're gonna take some beers out somewhere, find a footprint.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in so far.
All right, and then we just pour it in, take a drink. Can we do like a cast? I don't know, like if I want to drink out of the mud, like muddy footprint.
I'm okay with the muddy footprint. What do you not like about the muddy footprint?
It's mud. There's a lot of stuff in there. I don't know. It's not filtered. It's unfiltered.
Yeah, but we're gonna drink. It's beer.
Yeah. So you think it's gonna kill anything?
Yeah, I think it'll be.
Okay.
I think we'll be okay.
Okay. All right.
I'm 100% into it. So I'm doing it. Whether you want to do it or not, it remains to be seen. So let's take it back to the werewolf a little bit. We can kind of tone this down a little bit. This one was we wanted to have something fun to talk about, and I think Ginger Snaps and Teen Wolf are on the surface both. Well, Teen Wolf especially is kind of silly and maybe a little bit forgettable. There we go. I just blew up. Maybe the footprint is working and I'm turning.
Don't do it yet. Yeah. Wait till we're together.
No. But yeah, put it in the context of like how obvious what they're talking about is.
Oh yeah, especially when both those movies are about teens. Like it's pretty obvious.
It just makes me feel dumb for never thinking this.
I feel dumb now, but when I was like tipsy in it, I felt like a genius. I was like, everyone, I just figured out something. Listen to me.
React. Yeah, and they're all like, they slap you and they're like, of course, Eric, it's a transformation movie. And what do teens do but transform?
We're all just beasts. We're animals of this planet, right? When we pretend we're not. We all have those bestial tendencies. Yeah. I'm really excited I pronounced bestial right and not bestial. I didn't do a licotherapy.
Licotherapy. There you go. I guess now I'm just like going to put in context all the werewolf movies just quickly. Like I think most of them are going to be about toxic masculinity and because they usually are a male transforming. I mean, the Ginger Snaps being one of the few occasions that I could recall where there's a female werewolf, and the effects are quite different in it. But when you think about even like an American Werewolf in London, what he's going through, even though he's slightly older, he's still a young adult, doing this fun backpacking through Europe thing. Which
he's going through on his journey of transformation already.
Yeah, his literal transformation.
Yeah. And he's like haunted by his past because his buddy gets killed, right? So he's like haunted by his old self.
Do you think, I know we jokingly talked about this at the beginning, but do you think that MTV's Teen Wolf took advantage of this and used what we're talking about effectively and made it a movie about teens transforming?
Angst.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I've never actually seen it, but maybe it's like very like soap opera and angsty and using that. And honestly, again, I've never seen or read it, but maybe that's like why Twilight's so popular with a certain crowd, as it deals with those like topics of changing into something and that whole process.
Yeah. What do we stumble upon here? Did we just become geniuses?
I don't think so. I think everyone listening this is something they realized when they were like 17, and now they're just like, how are two grown men just now realizing that werewolves are about transformation? I think that's what's probably happening.
Okay, so we are the movie right now. We're just like, hey, we transformed our knowledge of werewolves here, and yeah. So, any other comments here on the wolf transformation and what it means?
I mean, I do find it, as a closing thought, I find it interesting as we discuss like how old this legend is and how it resonates and becomes something before movies even, and like books and stories, and how it's tied into witchcraft. Like there's something there where we just needed a container to talk about like the change of us and like how dramatic it can be, I guess. And now I have a whole new respect for werewolves.
Yeah. Same. I have. I definitely want to revisit these movies. I actually recently just bought Ginger Snaps, and I'm gonna take a revisit to it. I've only seen it a couple times. I don't know if I'll revisit Teen Wolf, but maybe I will. Maybe I need to have a gas of a time, and revisit the '80s cocaine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe maybe we're always talking about doing like a live tweet along, watch along as a movie. Maybe Teen Wolf would be the one to do. Because if you miss a couple lines by chatting, what are you really missing?
Nothing. Yeah, I think that's the movie. We drink out of a wolf's print and get real fucked up and have a good time.
Let's do it. I can't wait for this party. We'll find like this really long-legged dog or wolf so we can stay 6 feet apart. Like I'll get one paw print, you get the other.
And then we make it happen, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode. The hour may be over, but the clock keeps ticking.
You really got that like programmed up here.
I know. I'm not sure if it's working yet. So please write me and let me know if this ending needs to be changed. It started off as a joke, but now I've like merged it into some serious ending. So
yeah, it's good. What's my response supposed to be? So until next time, is that what I say?
Yeah, check your batteries or something. Make sure the clock keeps ticking or something. Yeah.
Watch out for those full moons.
They're a howl.
Yeah, they bring the tide in. Could be dangerous.
I hate it all. I hate everything we're doing. All right, we will see you next week as we journey into the unknown. I am Adam.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still just shocked that you did that. That's good. I'm Eric, and I'm in awe of my partner here.
And we'll see you next time.